Hey everyone on YouTube. Hey Brian.
Hey,
How's it going?
it's great.
Good, good. Glad to hear it. I think it's time to do another episode. Let's just jump in, huh?
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Python Bytes, where we deliver Python news and headlines directly to your earbuds. This is episode 482, recorded Monday, June 1st. I'm Michael Kennedy.
And I'm Brian Hawken.
This episode is brought to you by us and all of the Python things that we're doing. Check out pythontest.com. That's the right domain, yeah?
Say that again?
pythontest.com. That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Check out pythontest.com. Get Brian's multiple courses over there. Even something to do with lean TDD, if you want to check that out. I hear that an audiobook is underway, which is super cool. And got a couple new courses over at Talk Python, especially the new OWASP Top 10 Security plus Agentic AI. Like, how do you take Claude Code or something like that, plus known recognized patterns like the OWASP Top 10 and make your code safe? That's what that course is about. So check out those kind of things. That's what we're bringing you this week. Also, if you want to connect with us on socials, share show ideas, whatever, you can do so on all the socials. Sign up for the newsletter. We got awesome extras that come in through there. So just do that on the website. With that, Brian, I think it might be time.
Should we kick it off?
Speaking of security.
Oh, right. I'm sleeping at the wheel. So yeah, I wanted to talk about, we have a security issue, but the issue I think is resolved. We just, I'm highlighting an article that's about the maintainer. So this is interesting. So this is, this CVE, CVE 2026 48710, a maintainer's perspective. So this is from Marcelo Trilasinski. That's a cool name. Anyway, this is about a security advisory from Starlet. So there's isn't Fast API use Starlet, I think?
I do believe so. Yeah.
And a bunch of other stuff too. So even if you don't think that you're using Starlet, you might be using Starlet. So the short version is you probably ought to upgrade to 1.0.1 if you haven't already. That's one of the versions. If you don't care about the nitty gritty of this, just do that. The other part is an interesting thing about basically that this is an interesting article. It's kind of hard to cover, but I wanted to bring it up because it does. We do have more and more AI things like both trying to attack websites and also, so we have to keep up on security updates, but also a lot of these security vulnerability reports against projects. And a lot of these projects like Starlet they're not a commercial enterprise. It's an open source project with volunteer maintainers. So that's really what we're talking about here is a little bit of that. And also, the problem really wasn't with Starlet, and apparently they got some bad press in a couple of places because of a vulnerability. But I'm going to read this interesting thing. The vulnerability came from a pattern, an application pattern, and the deployment, never from something Starlet intended. And there's a description in the link about what the issue is, and I actually got lost. So it's something about I'm not even going to try to summarize it because I got lost here. But there's one description of the bug. It says from Ostif. I don't know what Ostif is, but an Ostif article. This bug is a classic responsibility gap where this maintainer didn't patch. Where if this maintainer didn't patch, then thousands of exposed projects would have to individually secure their projects. In doing this work, they've voluntarily taken on the responsibility to protect the ecosystem from long-term systemic harm. As with all open source projects, they owed us nothing and could have left it for everyone else's problem, but they took the extraordinary steps of helping the ecosystem please consider donating to Cludex, which is this the person that wrote this article, which is
And I
which is a
believe the
nice call
maintainer
out.
of Starlet as well.
Okay, yeah, you're right. And also, so apparently Ars Technica, Ars Technica even covered it, and we've referenced the articles a lot, in the past. Sometimes some good stuff, but apparently they reached out and said, this seems to be serious. Do you have any comments? How severe is it? And they didn't. They sent that request out 2 hours before publication, and since they didn't get a response, they posted that they didn't. They asked but didn't get a reply from Starlet. And 2 hours. Anyway, the
Yeah.
the article goes on to talk about the burden of triaging, how many security advisories come in, all the work that's involved, and also that that places like Ars Technica and others treat open source projects as if they're a for-profit corporation and expect like a PR department and stuff, and there's not. It's just people. So anyway, yeah. Do you have anything else to add to this, or just interesting?
Yeah, it's just interesting. I don't know. It doesn't look like a super dangerous vulnerability, I don't think, but definitely go out and patch it. And it's a 100 to 101 bump, so it's not like you've got to jump a major version.
Yeah, definitely patch, but also I think it's I don't know how to get out of this, but because we have a lot of these open source projects that big companies are relying on, and they want the reaction times of a paid product, and they just yeah. And actually,
You know what? They could do that by maybe putting the maintainer on a healthy retainer, making the project sustainable, and say, look, we'll pay you $2,000 a month, and we probably won't ask you anything for a long time, but if we need you, we need you to jump in, and we'll then pay you hourly. I don't know, something like that, right? That would, if you get 5 companies doing that, I bet you can get some response time out of that.
yeah, but the ironic reverse thing is actual paid products are really slow to patch anything. So we actually get usually faster response times from open source projects. So anyway.
Indeed. All right, let's go and chat a bit about the Daily Stars Explorer. This is a fun project, Brian. So what this is a web app that's open source on GitHub. What is it built with? Scrolling. It is built with JavaScript and Go. So, but it doesn't matter because it's not about the internals. It's about the information you get about different projects, including Python ones. So it's an app that you can put in a repository, and it will give you just basically historical information about the stars sliced and diced in all these statistical ways.
Ooh, neat.
So has full star history, hourly stars. You can compare side-by-side repos, activity timelines of like, show me the commits over time, which is kind of interesting. Favorite them, and so on. You can see when the repos were mentioned on Hacker News, Reddit, YouTube, and GitHub. And you download the data for feeding to your AI or feeding to your data science stack. So I think this is pretty cool. And let's just do this by, let me first find the Flask repo. 1 second. All right, so let's go and open up the little demo. So it's a web app, which means you have to self-host it. However, if you just want to try it out, I think just use the demo and put whatever you want in there, like unless you want to save your history and stuff. But let's go over and put Flask in. And it thinks for a moment. The first time you get one in there, I put a repo in there, it takes a minute to download all the data from GitHub. But because I put that in there before, it kind of goes more quickly. So you can see right now, Flask has 71,598 stars. And you can have different themes, of course, for the thing. But it shows you the total stars over time, right? So you've got this graph, this orange line, if you pull it up, is the integral or something like that. And here's the stars per day, right? Like 13, 15, whatever. And then, I mean, the scales are different, right? One goes up to 80,000, other goes to 30. But, you take the integral of the top curve, you get the bottom curve. Sum up all the stars. It's very cool. You can break it down by like over 5-year, quarterly, year to date. Like you can go and say, I want to transform this by, I want to just look at trend lines, or I want to look at monthly bend stars, or maybe I want to normalize the stars across and have like a little, lines. What else? We got the running median and week over week growth. Neat, right? Shows you how old the repository is. 16 years, 1 month, 26 days, 68 stars on the last day. So a lot of times you maybe want to think about what project do I actually want to work on or base my project upon? And obviously stars are not everything, but it's certainly something. Could we pull up here? Come on now, get away. You're right about this auto hide stuff, Brian. So where can I find? Yeah, I don't know where to pull up the commits from this one right off the top of my head. But anyway, it'd be cool to see the commits because that would let you answer some interesting questions as well, right? Like if you see the commits just come to a stop 2 years ago, you're like, oh, I see.
So where's the work happening? Like, where's it? Is it getting this data from in the browser, or when's the?
There's a Go based web app running on someone's server that that they've got up here, that I believe, and then it happens over there. If I pulled up a different one, you would see it.
Right.
Grind away for maybe 10, 15 seconds.
Well, that's a lot of data and a lot of graphs. I'm just the pickiness in me. I'm like, well, what graph doesn't it have? I don't see any candlestick bar graphs. But sorry.
Yeah, I know it's pretty neat though. If you want to explore some repos,
it's cool. I haven't seen people include like YouTube references before and something like that. So,
oh yeah, and there's all this side stuff over here. You can compare. Here's the commits. So, give it a moment. See, now it's grinding because I didn't ask for the commits on Flask earlier today. You can see PRs, issues, forks. Like that's pretty neat. It's kind of hidden in this little hamburger menu on the left, but if you expando it out,
yeah.
But yeah, it'll probably take. This should be interesting. I think actually I've got some ideas, but I don't know. It'll take maybe 30 seconds. There you go.
Huh.
So year over or all time, you can see there's quite a few commits and trending downward. It's honestly kind of a done product. I don't mean that in a positive or negative way. There's a few things left that I think Flask could do. Primarily, I think there's probably two things to work on. I think primarily you could work on maybe some performance stuff to make Flask better, and you could unify the true async court and the sort of pseudo async regular Flask async functionality. I know David and Philip are like working towards making those just one thing, but that could be a lot of work right there. That could be happening. But other than that, I kind of feel like Flask is sort of done.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
this is not about Flask. It's Flask as an example. It's about the Daily Stars Explorer, which I think is pretty cool.
Just a link to us from last week. No project's ever done because you have to test on new Python versions every year.
Yeah, and if it completely gets treated as done, then it starts to get treated badly because it's
dust and stuff.
All right, exactly. It gets treated as if it were dead. How about something to mark down? Maybe document it, write a book about it.
Yeah. So I like a lot of Markdown. I use it all the time. I'm actually writing. I wrote the Python testing with PyTest in Markdown. I'm writing lean TDD in Markdown. I use it for blog posts. Use it for everything. So what's new about this? What's new is I just learned about a tool called Typest. Typest. I think it's Type. It even says how to pronounce it, and I didn't look. So TYPST. So I needed a new formatting thing because I'm trying to self-publish Lean TDD, and I didn't like the book, the print book versions of output that I have available. So I wanted to customize that. So I reached out to all of our good friend Matt Harrison because he self-published and said, Matt, what do you use? And he's using Types now, so I tried to check it out. So The gist is that Pandoc converts to PDF, but I does it through late LaTeX, and I don't really like LaTeX. And you have to download something extra anyway to get Pandoc to convert it. So, but there's types
It's
over
actually
here.
quite a pain. It's not just it's like 3 or 4 libraries, and they're all, I don't know, they're just,
Yeah.
it's weird. It's not great.
Okay, so I'll jump to the punchline is I've got a convert script now that does converts Pandoc to type TYP, and I don't know what the official extension is, but I just named it. So you say two types in for Pandoc, but it's a fairly recent Pandoc that there's been updates recently, so you'll want to upgrade your Pandoc first, then convert your Markdown, and then take the type TYP output and you do types to compile, and then the output. And I did a little example, so it's just a normal Markdown, and it just converts it to nice, some nice PDF. So there's a whole bunch
and it
of
has
cool.
syntax highlighting as well.
Oh yeah, it does. It does syntax highlighting, and there's so much that it does. It does has mathematical symbols. It is a replacement for LaTeX for one, but it's very much simpler. And I in like an hour of twiddling with it, I have a fairly decent book template for the new book, and yeah, so I'm pretty happy with it. And I've had this has been around for a while, and I just didn't know about it, so that's why I'm bringing it up. And installing wise, just Brew for a Mac. Brew on Windows. There was some other process I did, but it's so much easier than the LaTeX chain to install. So pretty happy with this tool. So thanks. So I was so happy with it. I did a little blog post to share with people. So
Excellent. That is really interesting. I might start using that because, yeah, right now I'm doing just straight Markdown to Pandoc for TalkPython in production, and it's really good for EPUB, but it's kind of janky for PDF, and it's kind of janky for Kindle because Kindle can't read it quite right, so I have to remove a few little niceties for Kindle. So anyway, certainly worth considering.
Really?
Thanks. Yeah.
Oh, I guess I haven't tried. I'll have to try try the Kindle version.
The problem that I run into with Kindle is somehow the way that Pandoc is doing code syntax highlighting breaks the display on Kindle because, I don't know, there's something about new lines or spans or something that get treated differently, and then the spacing gets really weird. It's annoying.
Okay, I will. I'll definitely
give it a look and see what it looks like.
I'll have to try that, and yeah. So I'll try that probably today.
Yeah, I mean the books are identical for me, other than the Kindle ones don't have syntax highlighting, which is generally okay because most Kindles are black and white, but I know some are not.
Oh, okay. So on black and white Kindle, it looks okay.
If I compile a separate version, a separate Kindle EPUB that disables syntax highlighting in Pandoc, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look at that.
So that was the fix. I'm just all right, well, dash no, whatever the syntax is. I don't know. It's been a while since I wrote the alias that just does it,
Okay. Yeah, I'll take a look. All right.
Well, this one, Brian, this should be yours. This should be yours, but no, I got it. This one is mine. So I want to talk about Postman to PyTest.
Okay.
This is a cool project. It comes to us from Mikhail, and people might be familiar with the Postman app. I'm a big fan of the Postman app. It's pretty neat. Do you use it? Do you know it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the way it works is you create these collections that are like groups of different API calls that in aggregate demonstrate or test some kind of API, right? And you can organize them into folders, but also you can do collections and then share these collections with teammates and have team collections. I did that notably for the TalkPython courses app that's in the the iOS and the Google Play Store. So I'm like, I need all of the APIs that I'm creating for this to be tested, documented, clear. You can do stuff that should pass, stuff that should fail, and so on. So, all right. So if your team uses Postman, then this project here you might like because it converts Postman collections, which I just described, into executable Python test suite, a PyTest test suite.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's super simple. So all you do is you just say, you install it, probably UV if it says pip install, but come on now, UV tool install. Let's go. So it says Postman to PyTest -- collection, give it some collection. And then you say output this Python test file. And that's it. And then run Python, run PyTest to run it. So that's pretty neat. That will actually set the environment so that things like the base URL, which can vary, depending on configs like dev versus prod or whatever. And then it just runs it through PyTest. And what's cool is you could version this test file and then just rerun this to regenerate it when it's time.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, kind of, if you did that, if you versioned it, then you could use rerun it and do the diffs to see what changed in your collections. So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you could regenerate it and just go, oh, I see we've got this or this API actually changed because now it takes this additional header and that's why the test was failing. I don't know. Something like that. So this is a big if you use Postman, but I think this is really handy. And it's just like, hey, I've got this stuff locked into this app and it can run things, it can do test type things, but really you probably want it in PyTest land. And this cool little app, this cool little utility does it. So good work, Miko.
Yeah, one of the things that he mentioned to us when he shared this project which I thought was interesting, is the division of a whole bunch of developers and then that use Postman during development, which is common, right? I think, and then a smaller like quality assurance team or part-time person. I think it was him that needs to support some of this stuff, and so you've got the same source. You've got the developers developing what they think is the right thing, and to be able to take that and convert it to something that a smaller test team can maintain, and that's a cool model to do that with. So one source of truth. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's almost like treating like a database, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have extras?
I have one extra for today, and my extra is that I snuck this in for the last blog post that I shared was actually on testandcode.org. So I am writing. I'm going to start writing there, I think, a little bit. So I'm linking to new blog, Who Dis. There is not much there yet since I just put it online, but I'll link to the other stuff. One of the funny things that happened to me last night was I went to publish this at testandcode.com and I had let it expire because the old podcast was dead. So what happened? I just I'm like, well, somebody else grabbed it. Some squatter's sitting on it now, so I just registered .org. That works.
Very nice.
And the important thing, I could just keep blogging on Python Test, but I do want to. I want to use this test and code name as the publisher for Lean TDD. So it's self-published through me, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's not fake. It just looks kind of fun to have a different publisher than my name or Amazon or something like that. So that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, that's my extra. How about something funny?
I think it's time for something funny. Indeed. Let's jump over. So this joke is called Centering a Div, and it's based on Mr. Beast. Do you know Mr. Beast?
No, but yes.
I know. It's certainly not a thing that I would watch on YouTube. However,
sure.
No, I would watch Animal Fails. Come on. I really don't watch Mr. Beast. It's kind of annoying to me. But what a phenomenon, right? So for people who don't know, done by this guy James Donaldson, and his net worth from his YouTube projects and beyond, it's $2.6 billion. It's ridiculous. So it follows a theme. Like, we're going to put you in some crazy situation, and throughout the situation and at the end, whoever kind of completes it gets some ridiculous amount of money. Like, hey, we're all going to hang on to a car, like a Tesla, and whoever hangs on to it long enough gets a Tesla. Oh, and by the way, the person who doesn't go to the bathroom the longest gets an extra $100,000. Like ridiculous stuff like that, right? So, queued up. Here's the joke. Centering a div. Mr. Beast plans to trap 1,000 vibe coders in a room without Claude. First person to center a div manually wins $1 million.
Oh, it's not fair. Nobody will get it.
I know, exactly. It's like, it's impossible. Can't be done. And then down here, one of them is center horizontally, vertically, or both. Like, ooh. The vertically. It's just impossible now.
I don't even know if it's hard anymore, actually. It used to be hard, but I don't know if it is.
I think it depends how you write it. Like, if you did a flex box,
okay.
But if you did it old school way, it's a little harder.
Yeah. That's sort of funny to think about, though, because the vibe, I don't vibe code, but I also don't write CSS by hand anymore. Yeah. I use something else to do it for me. So anyway, funny. One of the things, I actually was at a dinner party the other day, and somebody said they wanted to start. They take a lot of videos, and I said, "Oh, cool. Can I watch them somewhere?" And he's like, "Well, I said you should like throw them up on Instagram or something, whatever." And he's like, "Well, I'm going to start doing on YouTube because, that Mr. Beast makes like millions of dollars." And one of the things I don't watch these videos, and maybe they're funny, maybe they're not. I don't know. It's not my thing. But one of the things that's unfortunate is it kind of makes some people believe that they can do that also. And I think this is a one-off random thing.
I think it's just, it was at the right time, right place. It was its own thing.
Yeah. And how much did he make for the first 3 years he was doing it? I don't know. But
anyway. He might have lost money. I'm not sure. He would just go up to random people and give him $1,000 for stuff. I don't know where he got the $1,000 to start this idea with, but
is that how like it started at the beginning? It was always like this?
I think so. The beginning, I don't know, but for a long time it's been like that. But it used to be like lower scale, and it goes up because my daughter watched him a lot for a while. Not so much anymore, but for a while, and so it would kind of be on in the background while I'm on the couch or whatever,
Weird. Okay. Whatever.
Yeah. But this is his new amazing one. Trap 1,000 vibe coders in a room without Claude. Ask them to do things. Let's go.
Yeah, that's funny.
It is. All right. Thanks for the show, Brian. Thanks for everyone for listening.
All right. Bye.
Bye.